Blade Show is over. The dust is settling, the hype is dying down, and I am still tired. But if you know anything about Blade Show, you know that now is the time that we can look back and reflect on what we actually saw and, you know, make sense of everything. I saw a few things that were unexpected at Blade Show. I saw some things I was looking forward to. And we also asked you guys what the coolest things at Blade Show were, whether you were there or just watching through social media, because it's easy to miss stuff at Blade Show. And judging by what you guys said was the coolest stuff, I missed a lot this year, which is honestly no surprise. But my name is Taylor Martin, this is Deep Cuts, and let's do the damn thing. All right, so we're gonna go through this relatively quickly, but we're not flying through. These are the things that you guys said were the coolest things from the show based on a question we asked over on Instagram. The very first one comes from Angus James 95, and he said the coolest thing at Blade Show was the WharnEDC from T-Kel and Melissa Backwoods. I agree, this thing is very, very nice, especially this version, the Blade Show exclusive version with the topo milling or lasering and the copper inlay on the handle. It's really sweet. Like you guys know, I love the T-Kel Piranha. This is the same handle, it's just got a different blade, and that's a really sick Wharncliffe. I also like the little jimping up front because this right here is one of my most used grips on a knife. If you didn't get one at Blade Show, keep your eyes peeled. I'm sure there will be more WharnEDCs soon or some point. I don't know. I don't know how T-Kel operates. I don't think Tim knows how T-Kel operates. Next up, we have a suggestion from TMC 15177. XX. We don't have one on hand, but Rikki did get one. It's the Auxiliary Manufacturing Folding Pocket Bowie. So the Pocket Bowie is a fixed blade from Auxiliary Manufacturing. I've had one. It wasn't my jam. It just wasn't. Rikki really liked it. In fact, Rikki had a Rikki's or Captain Rikki exclusive version of the Pocket Bowie at Blade Show, but it just didn't scratch that itch for me, just as a fixed blade. However, there's a folding version of it, and I kind of like it. I think it works better as a folder for whatever reason. No offense, Rikki. It just did more for me as a folder for some reason. I don't know. So what do you think about the Pocket Bowie? Better as a fixed blade or a folder? All right, this next one comes from our good friend Danny Styles over at Big Idea Design. In fact, it's the Danny Styles from the Danny Styles Show. I don't know the backstory on any of that, but that's what I call him every single time I see him. And he submitted a picture of me, which I think is actually pretty badass. It's a cool picture. He was running around taking some really nice photos for Big Eye, and he snapped a couple of really cool photos. So thanks for the cool photo, Danny. It's probably gonna become my new online photo everywhere. Thank you. All right, the next one comes from Incognito 3is, Incognito, whatever your name is. He said the Dead Reckon show special was the coolest thing. I actually didn't even see this. I went to Dead Reckon, totally missed it. It's a D2 with a Wharncliffe blade that was blued. I'm gonna see if I can look this up. Couldn't find it on their Instagram, so I don't know, but if we find a picture of it, we'll put it up here. Yeah, I have fallen in love with Dead Reckon knives. They do some really great work, and for a really fair price for what they're making. Honestly, their carbon fiber handled knives are so freaking lightweight, it's almost jarring when you flip it open because the blade wants to pull the knife forward because the handle's so lightweight. But they're doing some cool stuff. Next up we have AC Munger, who said the coolest thing that he got at Blade Show, or saw at Blade Show, was cut in front of by Taylor Martin while waiting to talk to Zac Whitmore on Friday. I'm sorry. You know, I do that, not intentionally, but my wife pointed out to me that I just like, people are in conversation, I run by and I like shake hands and say something and then just keep moving. Sometimes I linger afterwards after I've cut people off. I'm sorry, I don't have anything else to say. I have nothing to say for myself. I'm glad that's the coolest thing you got at Blade Show. I don't know. Zippo's EDC, our good friend Cedric, he came by and hung out at the office before Blade Show, went to the cookout at my house. What a great guy. I don't know how to put to words how great of a person he is. Just a gentle soul. But he said, the Pocket Bowie, Captain Rikki's edition. So 2 Pocket Bowie mentions, and one of them is our own Rikki's collaboration. I think you paid Cedric to say that. We have Nocturne Knives, who says the CornCraft Neutron 2. This knife right here, I actually saw a prototype from David a couple of years ago at Blade Show, or maybe it was last year. Either way, both my wife and I were like, hey, that guy looks familiar. And then he walked up to me and he handed me this. So no longer a prototype. This is a full-on knife company and his design. And what I think is so cool about this, I said this in our Blade Show haul, but The amount of pocket milling on this knife is insane. You can see a little bit on the inside there. There's hexagons, like a honeycomb pattern on the inside for the pocket milling, and then the outside is also pocket milled. So there's a lot of material being carved away here to keep this knife still big and comfortable, but very lightweight for a titanium frame lock. So very, very neat. Thanks for letting me check this out as well, David. I'm gonna need Rikki for this one. The Macaulay Design said, Dwyer returning one of the knives he stole was one of the best things at Blade Show. I'll just let you take it from here for a minute.
So, I like to poke around the EDC no-go groups quite a bit, and something that popped up quite a lot was that Dwyer, he was taking knives from people and just not returning them, like, ever. So I think one guy has sent a knife, or had given him a knife at a Blade Show because it had some sort of like issue with it, and he kept it for like 5 years. And apparently he's a very hard guy to get a hold of, so he has done that like quite a few times. I think the longest time that he's kept a knife for was like 10 years or so. I was trying to find the post on EDC Go and No Go, but I couldn't, unfortunately. But I'm sure if you dig around enough, you can probably find it. So him returning this knife was probably really good, but I'm probably going to go out and say that he still has some left. But that is the drama in the Dwyer world.
There was a post I saw on EDC Go No Go this morning, and it was a well-known scammer that somebody took a photo.
Yes, I saw that too.
Somebody took a photo of them at Blade,
That's
which
risky
is
as hell, showing up to a knife
that's
convention with a bunch
ballsy.
of dudes and knives.
It was ballsy, but the best part of that whole post was somebody asked when he's expecting, or when he's due, because he looked like
bad.
I'm not one to make fun of people for how they look, but if you're a scammer, you're a scumbag, and I'll let it ride.
Yep. This is your deep cuts drama for the week.
Deep cuts.
I'll see you later.
The next one comes from Cross and Copper. He said the coolest thing out of Blade Show was Hellbender Blade Co. So if you're not familiar with Hellbender, you are not alone, and it's because they are brand new. And do you know what Hellbender is? Well, other than a very large salamander, Hellbender is a new in-house knife company by River's Edge Cutlery. So you may or may not know that River's Edge Cutlery started OEMing knives for some makers. Most importantly, or most prominently, that to me at least, is the Knives by Nuge Wicket. There's a production version, and that was made by River's Edge Cutlery. But now they have branched out and they have started their own fixed blade company. Hellbender Blade Co. is River's Edge Cutlery. I don't know how open they were about that at the show, they told me, but it was also obvious because of who was at the booth. But besides that, they had some pretty cool things on the table. I didn't get to check them out too long. I literally caught them like 10 minutes before the show ended on Sunday. I didn't get a chance to really check out stuff closely, but it looked like some pretty nice stuff, especially from a brand new company. And then finally, from Lucas Lionheart, he said the coolest thing he saw at the show was the Piratech Slippy Kraken. So this is a slip joint knife from Piratech with adjustable back spring tension, which is really cool. I have it on the lowest setting here, which I think is the best setting. But if you want, you can pop this scale off because just like the Kraken, it's magnetic. You can dump out that pin right here and you can adjust where it is. There's 3 adjustment positions. Put your scale back on, and now you have one of the toughest pulls on a slip joint knife ever. I think the tech there is really cool. I think the knife itself looks great. I just want something other than blue denim micarta scales, which should be very simple because they just pop off. All right, so that's the coolest stuff from Blade Show according to you guys. According to us here at Damn EDC, there were a couple of things. First and foremost is this right here. This stole the show for me and a lot of other people. This is the Tuch Knives Klick, and if you're not familiar with it, it is a manual frame lock titanium folder that just so happens to also work as an automatic. Yeah, figure that one out. If you aren't familiar with this, it's a little bit of a mind fuck, but it's really cool. So drop shut and then fire it as an automatic. It's pretty cool. Now it's spring loaded. No, it's not. Very cool knife. Another thing that was awesome at Blade Show was our good friends at UG Tools getting the love they deserve. They won the best overall knife of the year with the Tiny. This is the 3D printed titanium handled knife that I've talked about a good bit on this channel. It is awesome. It's very lightweight, extremely strong, and Carry Commission is going to be one of 2 dealers in the US, so if you would like to get your hands on one of these, Stay tuned, we'll have them at Carry Commission very soon. If you don't want to wait, you can go to Klick right now and get one, but we will be one of 2 places to get UG tools here in the US. And it's their award for Best Overall Knife of the Year, totally deserved. Like, they are doing stuff that nobody else is doing, and it is innovative, it's very, very neat, and it works. It just works. So 3D printed titanium, I guarantee you are gonna see a lot more of this now because of them winning that award. I guarantee it. Those machines are very, very expensive, like $500,000 for a 3D printer, but you can make something really badass like this right here. But it's not just the 3D printed titanium, they're just smart people. They flipped the Ulti clip backwards and it works better. Like, they're just thinking outside the box. They have a lot of projects going on. I'm very excited for them for winning the award. We got to hang out with them and celebrate at Waffle House. I got to show them what my life was when I was a kid, going to Waffle House at 3 a.m. Like, it was cool. But them getting that award, one of the coolest things to experience because of how excited they were. It meant a lot to them. The other thing is the amount of people running around the show with the RMX. I wasn't sure what the actual perception of that knife would be. Obviously, us YouTubers that went to Medford and checked it out in person, and those of us that got prototypes last year, we all knew what it was about. We were all excited, but we weren't sure if that would translate through the camera because sometimes the stuff we're hyped about doesn't always, translate. This did, and the people that I saw that had an RMX in their hands were super thrilled about it, and rightfully so. It's a great knife. So this is the RMX in the reverse Tonto blade, and then there is also a mini, a compact with a drop point. There's no compact with a reverse Tonto yet, but go check out the video if you want to see more about the RMX. I'm so glad that the reception was as good as it was, and they sold out basically instantly online, which is awesome. So congrats to you guys, Worksharp. And what better time to tell you about our channel sponsors than right now? Worksharp is one of those sponsors. They made this knife. It dropped at Blade Show. Go check out the video, go check out Worksharp. Not only do they make a really cool knife now, they make amazing sharpeners. You can find them linked below. Thank you to Worksharp. And also want to thank bigidesign. They were there at the show too, had some really cool stuff. They make pens, pocket tools, and now they make knives. They make really great knives, honestly. And their Overlook is their latest knife. It is really good, like really, really good. Go check it out. You can use the link in the description down below, and at checkout, use the coupon code CARRYON for 10% off. I also want to thank Carry Commission. Is that my company? Yes, yes it is. Is it sponsoring this channel? Yeah, it is. It is. If you don't know about Carry Commission, it's my store. It's my curated store of all the things that I like in this industry and also slightly outside. We have knives, we have titanium pack shovels, we have organizers and knife rolls and all the stuff. We have a NAFS dealer. We have a lot of stuff. You probably haven't checked it out. You probably should. Go check it out. It's linked down below, or you can just go to carry.best. Thank you to Carry Commission and myself for sponsoring this video. And finally, I want to thank Whatnot. It's a live streaming platform. We go live there and sell all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun, but think of it as like TikTok Live meets eBay. You can go there and bid on things, whether it's cards or vintage goods or men's accessories, or more importantly, knives. There are knives, and we sell knives. We also sell bags. I've sold most of my personal collection that I didn't want and just wanted to move on. We sell a lot. Go check it out. There's a QR code right here. There's also a link down below. If you use that, you can get $15 towards your first purchase. Thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring the channel. Back to what was great at Blade Show. This is another thing that I didn't expect at all. I had a meeting with TRM. I was just gonna go chat for a little bit, get reacquainted. It's been a long time since we talked. And then I saw this on their table. This is called the Tagalong, and it is a brand new knife for them. I cannot remember the blade steel. It's something a little bit comparable to CPM D2. It comes with this leather pocket sheath and an Ulti clip. All of this for $150 made in America. That's a great deal and a great little pocket knife. So great that I bought one for my wife because she asked for it, but also because I thought she would like it. She goes fishing and she wanted something that she could keep clipped to something and still have access to a knife quickly. So this is a lot easier to clean than the OTF that she took fishing last time and did not clean after she got fish guts and salt water on it. So she's getting a fixed blade this year for her fishing trip, not an OTF. And Rikki just told me the blade steel on this is PSB 27. So Totally unfamiliar with it myself, but I was told by Marianne that it is very comparable to CPM D2, but better. And remember, CPM D2 and D2 are not the same thing. Don't make the mistake I made. Finally, I mentioned in our Blade Show haul video that we had a cookout at my house. We had some industry folk come in, and one of those people was none other than the legendary Ken Onion. He's a great guy. It's amazing getting to talk with him. It's a little surreal having Ken Onion at my house and telling me that my brisket is one of the best he's ever had. That was cool, but he always brings goodies. And the goodie that he brought this year, we bought multiples, but one of the coolest ones is this. I'd never heard of keto design, and I hadn't ever seen a knife quite like this. Obviously, we've seen Kiradashis before, but this is a folding frame lock. It's a pretty cool little knife. A perfect little 5th pocket blade that's basically perfect for what 99.999% of you guys are gonna use your knife for, and it's exactly the premise of last week's deep cuts. You're carrying too much knife. This right here is all you need for most of your daily tasks. This knife will slay your boxes and your packages and open your letters and even cut up your meat. Your lunch. We'll say lunch. Meat. It'll cut up your meat. Like I said before, the checker pattern on the handle isn't exactly my favorite. I think something else there would be really neat. But some of the design cues are very Ken Onion, but the 3 lines in the backspacer here that carry through to the blade, design-wise, it's really neat and very compelling and very interesting to look at. And I'd never heard of it before. He is Keto Design, or Joey is Ken's apprentice, and I didn't know that before, but now I do, and now I know, and now you know. I actually forgot to say something when we were shooting this video. I don't even know how I forgot, but one of the coolest things that has happened at a Blade Show for me ever was Rikki and I went to the Akaso booth early Saturday morning. It was maybe like 10:30. And we were offered a shot of tequila, which I politely said, no, thank you, I'm good. But then Lynn Thompson walked up and he's like, we're doing shots of tequila. And I'm like, okay, when Lynn Thompson says we're doing shots of tequila, what do you do, Rikki?
We say yes.
You say yes. The next segment is the community carry. Carry of the week. This one comes from JEH. You can find him on Instagram at Jeff_Hauer or on YouTube at JEH-1020. In this photo, we have a rustic heirloom hitchhiker wallet. It looks to be the green version, which it kind of looks like ours, but it's not. It also has a bead on there that was made by my friend Grant McGinnis of McGinnis Made. So that was the collaboration that Joe did with him. We also have a Tissot PRX watch sitting on top of that, and the pen next to it is a Big Idea Design Klick pen. We also have a Through Night Archer flashlight next to that. Below it is a Zippo with a butane insert, looks like a plain steel one. Of course, the greatest, the SOG power plant. Okay, it's not the greatest, but it is good, and it is my preferred multi-tool to carry every day, the SOG power plant. And then finally, to the far right of the photo is the Demco AD 20.5 in titanium in the Shark's Foot blade. JEH, or Jeff, said, I feel like I've always had a tough time narrowing in on my perfect carry. I'm always switching knives, flashlights, multi-tools, watches, but I feel like I'm getting so close. Don't fall into the trap, dude. There is no getting close. Every time I get closer, I get a wave of new gear, and I'm further away than I was before. I have determined that the power plant will always end up back in my pocket over all the Leathermans I've tried. The AD 20.5 has turned out to be everything I've looked for. I think at this point, the only thing I can replace is the AD20S. I think at this point, the only thing I can replace it with is the AD20S. The flashlight could use some improving, but it's kind of at a spot where it's good enough. Everything else is a staple and won't be going anywhere anytime soon. He does say that he's looking for something. He says, I'm considering adding a slip joint to my carry every once in a while just to spice things up. I'm looking for something under 150. I would love an ABW slip joint, but those are a little hard to come by. I would also like an ABW slip joint, and yes, they are hard to come by. I've missed one every single time at every Blade Show and every drop that he's done. He told me to DM him and he would make it, take care of it, but I just haven't done that. So I still don't have one. There is a new slip joint from Jack Wolf Knives. They were $69, $70. They're actually really great. I just don't remember the name, so I can try to look it up right now and see if I can remember, maybe. Jack Wolf Knives Tango Gateway Barlow, $70. That is what you need. I don't even think you need to look any further. There's one in rosewood, green micarta, abalone, what? Black carbon fiber, and smooth blue bone. Don't look any further than that. That's what you need. the Gateway Barlow from Jack Wolf Knives. And since we're here, we might as well answer the question, what's in my pockets, you guys always ask. First up, one of the coolest things I have ever been gifted, a custom Clingman, so a fixed blade version of my own knife. It also came in this really nice shell leather pocket sheath, which is, what a nice touch. I also have another knife in my pocket, and it is the Axial Shift Gen 3 in the new raw aluminum finish and a blackened blade. Really, really sick. I'm actually enjoying that OTF a lot. Same flashlight, same pocket tool. We have the SOG power point and the Lumentop Frog, as well as the same, oh, nope, not the same wallet. Sorry, I almost lied. Same lighter. We have a Gaslight Industries lighter in this antique bronze finish that I did. No, it's not bronze. Yes, we will launch them eventually. I promise I'll keep you updated. But I have the Vice Hardware F47 wallet. It is a titanium card holder wallet with adjustable tension, so you can hold more or fewer cards. It auto adjusts, and a money clip, but I'm broke now because Blade Show's over, so I have no cash. Same pin. I have the bigidesign Pocket Pro in bronze. And then finally, the watch is the RZE UTD 8000 in black on a bracelet from RZE as well. So that is my carry today. I almost forgot, there is something else. I'm not one to carry fidgets. I'm not. I don't carry pocket art or pocket trash or anything. I mostly just carry utilitarian stuff. But I got this as a gift from a guy named Finn, who I met at Blade Show, Texas. He has a company called Finn the Forager, or at least an Instagram account. I believe that's the name of the company as well. But this is the Tetra 292, and it's a little like skills toy fidget thing. It's really nice. It's cool. It's made of brass and it's got some magnets. It's not meant to click, clack or anything. It's just meant to just be fidgeted with. And I've been carrying it and I can't put it down. So I'm a fidgeter now, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Finn's a cool guy, and this is a cool little product if you're into that sort of thing. I'm genuinely not, but I'm still carrying it and I can't stop. So there's that. All right, I was not gonna do a comment this week, but here we are. We got a comment, and I figured I could answer this one very easily. So the comment comes from BBenE7, I think. Anyway, he says, you mentioned the new hot swap feature that Exceed Designs is doing for his knives. Maybe I haven't come across it yet, but why doesn't something like that exist for a multi-tool? I think a modular pick your own tools multi-tool with the ability to swap out tools would be awesome. Hashtag no knife too small. So the fact that I chose his comment means that he actually won the giveaway. We'll get to that in a second. The answer to your question, BBenE7, is that there is. It's called Roxxon. I talked about them after Blade Show West last year. I got one with a whole set of all the tools. You can modularize that whole tool and build the thing that you want. So if you don't like the tool set that you get, you can just take a tool off and put another tool on. The thing is, it doesn't work as well as you would think. It works fine. The problem I have is that the Roxxon tool itself feels pretty cheap. It looks pretty cheap. It is cheaper than a Leatherman at its base, but once you start buying a bunch of tools, it's as much or more than like a Leatherman Wave. So I don't know. They do have a compact version of it as well. I've not checked that one out. But there's also a company called Goat Tools, and they do basically the same thing in a different package. But there are multiple options out there for multi-tools that you can build and customize on your own, but it's a compromise. A Leatherman still feels better. A Victorinox Swiss tool still feels better. Even if you can't modularize it and make it your own, it just feels better. I think it's because it's meant to feel the way it feels, whereas Roxxon, you're just buying a frame and slapping stuff together, and when it comes down to using it, it doesn't always work as well as it should. And the tools, in my experience, on the Roxxon are pretty thin by comparison. Like, they're stamped and you can just slap them on. Now, I will be the first to say, I haven't given the Roxxon tool a fair shake. My friend Dom over at Max Level EDC dives much deeper into multi-tools, and he's done a lot more content on Roxxon and probably also the Goat tool. His core focus is really multi-tools more than anything. Even though he does cover knives and other EDC gear, he focuses in on multi-tools. So go check out his videos on Roxxon if you would like a deeper dive on that, and someone who has actually used it much more than I have, but it does exist. All right, so what I was saying is that because I chose your comment, BBenE7, you are the winner of this Wee Knife Tyro, designed by Snex. This was the giveaway last week. If you want to get in on the giveaway this week, we are giving away another mini Bedlam from Benchmade, this time in the blackout version. And this one comes with a partially serrated blade. So it looks really nice if you like serrations. If you would like to win this knife, hopefully you have already subscribed to the EDC Weekly newsletter. The instructions are in your inbox. If you didn't get an email from me today, then you missed the boat and you can't enter this giveaway. I'm sorry, but you have to get the rules in your inbox, and the way to do that is to already be subscribed to the newsletter. So if you haven't, go do that and you can get in on future giveaways. But this one, ship's already sailed. Sorry. Follow the rules. I told you to do this last time in the last 6 weeks. Sign up to the newsletter. You'll get the instructions in your inbox. You'll win stuff. It's fun. All right, the time has come for our little Taylor versus Rikki up the ante segment, which we didn't fully suss out as far as what people would win, but we'll figure that out. You'll win something cool.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you
What
that.
do you have for me today?
So Taylor loves ChatGPT. So for this game, I incorporated some ChatGPT magic. The prompt for ChatGPT was to give me the 5 best selling EDC folding knives of 2024. The list that it gave me, I think it's probably the most popular rather than like the best selling, even though it says that it took that information.
It doesn't have that data.
Yeah, it doesn't. So it's, just to give you guys a breakdown, this is why ChatGPT chose this. So EDC community favorites, which is frequent mentions on Reddit forums and EDC roundups, consistently high selling, so these knives are reflected in retailer top seller lists, and it comes from credible sources like Blade HQ, everydaycarry.com, Popular Mechanics, and so on. So the game is, Taylor has to guess 3 out of the 5 to win whatever the prize is.
No, if I get it, you guys don't win anything. If I guess 3 out of 5, you win nothing.
Right.
If I don't, I'll send you a Klingman. I'll send a Klingman out.
Perfect.
All right.
All right.
Is the list all Klingmans?
Yes, dude. You know what? All right. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we lost. All right.
Okay. So we're going for 5 most popular knives last year.
Yes.
Bug out has to be on there.
Yes.
Okay. So we got 1.
We got 1.
How many guesses do I get?
10 guesses.
All right. I can deal with that.
All right. So use 1 guess and you got it correct.
Pair 3.
Negative.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's 2 in here that I'm like, ooh, really?
Okay. I can't imagine anything from like Chris Reeve is on the list. As popular as they are in the community, the numbers they move are nowhere near something like my brain, if we're going best selling, my brain immediately goes to leak. Because
no leak.
No leak. See, that tells me that this list is not best selling, because the leak has been one of the best selling knives,
Yeah.
especially when you consider how many there are, because they're at Walmart.
Yeah. Well, imagine, again, this is coming from like Blade HQ, Gear Patrol, like,
Yeah.
think in the sense of like, what are some of the most popular knives?
Okay. This one's going to be out there, but I got to put the feeler out there. James Brand Folsom.
No.
Whoa.
That's 4 guesses.
That look on your face told me there's a James Brand knife on there.
No.
No?
No, I promise you there's no James Brand.
All right. 4 out of, okay. We got 2 more to guess.
You own 4 of the 5 knives in here.
Is a 940 on there?
No.
What? Okay.
There was only the bug out. You got 5 more guesses.
This is really hard because we're talking popular, like open on number 6 or number 8 has to be on there, but I'm not saying it is. I don't think it is.
No.
So
Again,
that's where my
think of-
brain was going.
Remember,
like,
it said that it picked like most talked about
I know.
community. Like that's a huge hint.
I'm thinking of Reddit because I spend a lot of time on Reddit.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of like stuff I see on there.
Yep, you got 5 more guesses.
Oh my God, this is hard. Civivi Elementum.
No.
What? Okay. Okay.
The Elemental.
Can I look at my drawer?
Through 2 out of the 4 drawers.
Oh, this drawer. ain't
Although I'm
help
gonna tell you what, I organized that drawer, and by the one that you just opened, you were gonna lose.
me. Yeah, there ain't nothing in there. Oh my God, this is really tough.
I'll give you another hint. One of them was identified as best overall pocket knife by everydaycarry.com.
That doesn't help me at all. That doesn't, I mean, I've read their articles. That doesn't help me at all.
Okay, here's one more. Regularly ranked as best overall EDC knife in 2024 reviews, praised for its ergonomic FRN handles, compact size, high durability, and ease of carry.
I'm going to say PM2, but all right, I got 3 guesses left.
Another hint. Another
I feel
one.
bad getting hints.
I'm giving you quite a few. Valued, one of these is valued for its modest price, easy deployment, crossbar lock.
Pyrite.
No.
What?
You're going too niche.
Lander 2?
No.
Yeah, like, I'm down to my last guess, so I've already lost.
Yeah. Think of okay,
Iridium.
fine. Yes. There you
Okay.
fucking go. All right, you ready for the list?
I don't want to see this.
All right, number one,
Jesus.
Benchmade Bug Out 535. Number two, Spyderco Delica 4.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you were
I
so...
should have just, the Delica is always on a list.
Yes. Kershaw Iridium, here's the next one. This one's the one that I think you're gonna be bummed about. Hogue Deca. The Hogue Deca is...
I wouldn't have guessed Deca just because Bug Out probably blows it out of the water in terms of actual numbers sold.
But it says best overall pocket knife by...
That's
Again, this
3
is...
crossbar locks out of 4.
I know. Here's the last one. Chris Reeve Sabenza. 31 to 35.
I would have said Sabenza
Yeah.
if we were talking about most popular, but my brain was still kind of stuck on that like best selling.
Yeah, no. I think, again, based off of the way that ChatGPT made this list, the one that I don't think made sense was Chris Reeve Sabenza.
Yeah, you look at all my guesses and they were like 150 and under.
Yeah.
And it's because popular, like you're gonna sell by volume.
Yeah.
A cheaper knife is gonna.
But you were also so close. Like you were like literally a couple degrees away from being on track.
Like, okay, so we're talking popular and volume and sales and stuff. Like the Deca, I would wager that it doesn't sell as many as a 940 either. So that's why, that's where my brain went.
For sure.
I want to see what if I ask it.
Okay,
I'm not gonna give it the exact same prompt, but I will say
give it the same prompt.
I'll give it a similar prompt. Let's ask most. I want to ask most popular.
Okay.
I'm gonna frame it a little different.
All right. It's pulling from the same places, so hey.
Look at that. Thank you, chat. Thanks, ChatGPT.
Damn, are we pulling views from ChatGPT?
I hope so. Paramilitary 2, Bug Out, Lander 2, Pyrite, Yonder. There we go. Flytanium Arcade, 940, Chris Reeve Sabenza, Zan, Strider SMF.
Interesting.
If we had gone off that most popular list,
yes,
I would have blown it out of the water. All right, well, somebody gets a Klingman. I will just choose a random comment and you'll win a Klingman. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Deep Cuts. We have an audio-only version of this if you would like to listen to it on your commute. It's in all the places that you find your podcast. It's also linked down below. And there's also a website. You can sign up for the newsletter at weekly.bestdamnedc.com. You can also submit your carry to the show at edcw.co. That's it. I will see you guys in the next one. And until then, carry on. I would also like one of those ABWs. Would I fucking turn into Porky the Pig? That's all, folks.